We've been led to believe that money is the ultimate attractor, that if your bank balance is high enough, everything else, including her affection, will naturally follow. But the reality is very different. What women truly seek goes beyond material status. They're drawn to depth, not just to success, but to inner strength, not just to riches, but to real presence. And once you grasp the true meaning of that, everything shifts. Today, we're diving into 6 qualities that appeal to women more than money ever could. These traits are born from discipline, emotional stability, and mastery of the self. They're not for sale, and you can't fake them. They're cultivated quietly over time. And when a man possesses them, he doesn't need to speak. She senses it the second he enters the room. This isn't about manipulation or gimmicks. It's about building a core that's steady and resilient, the way the Stoics lived. A man who leads himself, who stays grounded under pressure, who can be calm and powerful at once. That's the man who stands apart in a world full of noise and distraction. So if you're done chasing shallow validation and ready to become the kind of man who naturally attracts through presence, keep listening. These 6 traits won't just catch her eye, they'll ground you. And that's what she's truly looking for, even if she never puts it into words. Money might open the door, but it won't keep her interested. It could impress her for a moment, but it won't win her lasting respect. What truly captivates a woman runs deeper than your income. It's your presence, your discipline, your mental clarity. That authentic masculinity can't be bought, borrowed, or copied. And that's exactly where Stoicism comes in. Stoic men don't seek validation. They embody calm. They don't need to be loud. Their quiet presence speaks volumes. These qualities don't demand attention, yet they naturally attract it. And when a woman picks up on that energy, it's not your wealth that pulls her in. It's your groundedness. Not in material things, but in something far rarer: self-mastery. In this video, we're unpacking 6 Stoic traits that make you instantly more magnetic, not in a showy, overcompensating way, but in a way that resonates deeply and lasts. These qualities aren't about showing off. They're about stepping into quiet leadership. And women notice, in your demeanor, your reactions, and how little you feel the need to prove. We'll break down emotional regulation, firm decision-making, inner stillness, quiet confidence, purpose-driven action, and restraint. Each one isn't a tactic to impress. They're signs that you can lead yourself. And in a world filled with erratic men and constant noise, that kind of steadiness is what truly sets you apart. This isn't a strategy to manipulate attraction. It's a path to becoming a man who no longer needs to chase it. A man who doesn't demand attention because he already operates from a place of strength and clarity. She might not know Stoic philosophy, but she'll feel its presence in you. There's something unmistakably different about a man like that. Want to be the one she can't forget. Want to possess what no amount of money can buy. Build it from within. And when you do, you won't chase. You'll choose. A man grounded in true Stoic strength doesn't need attention to feel worthy. He already knows his value. You could gift her designer bags, take her to high-end restaurants, or flaunt your car keys, but none of it matters if you lack self-mastery, because while money might catch her eye for a moment, it's discipline that earns her lasting respect. Not the fake kind that's forced and rigid, but the genuine kind, calm in chaos, composed in temptation, and consistent without needing praise. Stoicism teaches that a man's real power isn't in what he possesses, but in what he governs, and the highest form of control is over himself. Epictetus put it best, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In today's world, that kind of mastery is rare. Most men give in to their desires, react emotionally or chase after approval, but the Stoic remains steady. Discipline draws people in, not because it's loud, but because it reflects something real. It tells the world you're not ruled by impulse. You don't follow the crowd. You move with purpose, whether that's staying true to your path, keeping your word, or walking away from anything that betrays your values. That level of control is what separates you from the rest. And trust, women can feel it. They may not always say it outright, but women can feel when a man is truly grounded, when his yes is firm and his no is unwavering, when he acts with integrity, not because he's being watched or rewarded, but because it's who he is. That kind of consistency creates trust, presence, and a quiet strength, all of which hold more value to her than any expensive gift ever could. Being stoic doesn't mean being flawless. It means being dedicated. When you slip, you rise. When temptation hits, you pause and breathe. When life tries to pull you off track, you return to your purpose. That's the edge Stoicism gives you. Not control over the world, but command over how you show up in it. Here's the truth. Discipline makes you powerful. Not in a dominating way, but in a deeply focused, composed way. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your patience, and earns you respect without needing to speak. Women don't just see that, they're drawn to it. Not because it demands attention, but because it's so rare. So if you're chasing attention, it's time to shift your aim. Start chasing mastery, because once you develop the discipline to own yourself, you won't need to offer jewels. You'll be the jewel, and she'll feel the difference immediately. In a world where most men are reactive, the one who stays composed becomes a rare and powerful presence, not cold, not detached, but calm and in control. That emotional stability, the ability to remain steady under pressure, to lead when others falter, is more commanding than any flashy success, and yes, far more attractive. Stoicism doesn't ask you to ignore your emotions. It teaches you to master them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." That's emotional strength, the ability to witness chaos and still choose peace. And when a woman sees that in a man, someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't explode, doesn't lose himself, she leans in. Why? Because it gives her something most men can't, a sense of safety. Real emotional control isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about maturity. It's the calm response instead of the outburst, the breath before the reaction, the steady voice when things start to escalate. You still feel everything, but you're not ruled by those feelings. That kind of control is rare, and it's magnetic. Why does it pull people in? Because it signals leadership. A man who can lead himself emotionally is someone others instinctively trust, in relationships, in business, in life. A woman might not be able to explain it, but she feels it. That calm energy tells her there's depth, presence, and strength behind your silence. So how do you cultivate that? You start with the small things. Breathe before you respond. Reflect before you speak. Write down what triggers you. Practice leaning into discomfort. The Stoics didn't avoid stress. They trained for it. Cold showers, silence, moments of denial, not as suffering, but as preparation for life's bigger storms. Every time you stay composed when things get tense, you earn something far more valuable than attention. You earn respect, not just from her, but from yourself. And that's the foundation of quiet confidence. It doesn't need to boast. It doesn't need validation. It simply walks in and owns its presence. It leads without domination. It communicates without raising its voice. And in the end, emotional control becomes the true currency of high-value men. Because once you master your internal world, the external begins to align. And the right woman, she won't just admire that, she'll trust it fully. Trust is the foundation of anything that truly lasts. Attraction doesn't always announce itself. In fact, the strongest kind often unfolds in silence. It's not about what you say, but what you consistently do, the way you move, the pause before you speak, how you hold yourself under pressure. These subtle patterns speak louder than words. And yes, she notices them all, even if she never says a thing. This is the core of Stoicism. Lead with action, not with noise. Marcus Aurelius didn't try to impress. He simply lived his values, day in and day out. That quiet, steady alignment with principle created a presence people felt. Want to stand out? Let your habits do the talking. That's where real masculine presence begins. Start your day with intention. Follow through on your word, especially to yourself. Train your body not just to look strong, but to be strong, to endure, to withstand. Master your impulses rather than being ruled by them. Speak less, but make every word count. These habits won't get applause, and they're not meant to, but they build something far more meaningful: trust, respect, and a sense of quiet mystery. When a woman sees a man who doesn't need to explain himself, who's grounded, focused, and immune to the noise of the world, she doesn't just feel attracted, she feels safe. And from that safety, curiosity is born, because a man who stands firmly in who he is becomes the man she wants to know more about. Who is he? What drives him? Why doesn't he react like everyone else? That's when everything shifts, when you stop chasing and she starts leaning in. These traits aren't built overnight. They're forged in silence, in private moments, when no one is watching, no one is applauding. That's the Stoic path. And here's the paradox. When you build yourself without seeking validation, that's when the world starts to take notice. You won't need to quote philosophy, name-drop thinkers, or showcase your value. Your energy, your discipline, and your calm will speak for you. You'll walk into a room and command attention without saying a word, not through flash, but through presence. Because what you've built can't be faked. It can't be copied with money, charm, or clever lines. It's the result of quiet repetition, of showing up for yourself again and again. So if you want to be noticed, stop trying to impress. Building, grow, refine. The right woman won't need convincing, she'll feel it, and that speaks louder than anything you could say. You could have the car, the watch, the lifestyle, and still lose her attention. Not because those things aren't attractive, but because they're not what she's truly seeking. What she craves, even if she never says it aloud, is a man whose presence lingers, whose energy shifts the room, whose self-mastery makes her feel safe, curious, and seen. Because in the end, real masculine presence isn't bought. It's earned. It's not loud or arrogant. It's steady, focused, and grounded. It's the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't rush to fill the silence, who meets your gaze without flinching, who responds with intention rather than reacting impulsively. That kind of energy creates gravity, and women pick up on it immediately, even if they never say that's what pulled them in. This is the presence that Stoicism builds. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about chasing validation or flaunting status. He wrote about holding your center, staying rooted when the world pulls at you from every angle. That's what women feel when you have nothing to prove. When your calm is genuine, not performed, it radiates something increasingly rare in today's overstimulated world. This presence isn't accidental. It's built from a foundation of discipline, emotional control, purpose, and stillness. It shows in the way you speak with intention, how you remain composed when others lose control, how you listen more than you talk, and how you stay consistent whether or not anyone's watching. These aren't trends, they're anchors. A man with real presence doesn't seek attention. It naturally flows toward him. He's not performing. He's aligned with who he is. And that alignment reveals itself in how he treats others, how he navigates challenges, and how he protects his time, values, and energy. That's what leaves a lasting impression long after you've walked away. What women don't often articulate, but deeply feel, is this: I trust how he holds himself. not because of what he owns, not because of how charming he is, but because of how he moves, how he lives. Because real masculinity isn't just about attraction. It's about stability. It's clarity in motion. So if you're chasing material upgrades, hoping they'll get you noticed, pause. Focus on building presence instead. Because while wealth might catch her attention briefly, it's your grounded energy that makes her stay. That's what lingers in her memory long after you've left the room. In a world obsessed with image, luxury, and volume, it's the man with quiet strength who stands out the most. He's not seeking applause, doesn't crave approval, and doesn't crumble under pressure. He doesn't need to announce himself. He simply is. And that kind of presence carries more weight than any luxury car or designer accessory ever could. Stoicism teaches a man to cultivate his power from within. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." A Stoic man isn't defined by what he shows off. He's defined by what he chooses, what he honors, and what he lets go of. That kind of ownership radiates calm, a stillness that commands respect without ever raising its voice. And women feel that, even if they can't explain why. It's in how he listens without needing to impress, how he pauses instead of reacting, how he protects his time, his peace, and doesn't rely on outside praise to feel worthy. That's silent power, built not on performance but on discipline, intention, and self-respect, the kind of strength that doesn't shout but is unmistakably felt. Women are naturally drawn to this kind of energy because it signals trust, depth, and leadership. In a world full of superficial noise and constant attention-seeking, a man who is firmly grounded becomes magnetic. His emotional control offers her safety. His sense of direction sparks her interest. His self-restraint leaves her intrigued. This isn't about playing games or creating false mystery. It's about real mastery. You don't need more possessions. What you need is deeper clarity, more calm in your choices, and stronger command over your habits, your speech, and your reactions. That's how you build a presence and a life that doesn't chase attraction. It draws it naturally. And here's the paradox. The less you seek external validation, the more it starts to come. The more strength you cultivate internally, the more the world begins to reflect that power back to you. When you live with intention, you don't have to prove your value. It shows without a word. If you want to become unforgettable, not through flash but through presence, begin with Stoicism. Because at the end of the day, luxury fades, looks change. But the man who carries quiet strength and purpose, he lingers in her mind long after everything else has disappeared. If you've made it this far, then you already get it. This was never about trying to impress women with your money. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to impress at all. A man who leads himself. A man who lives with discipline, presence, and purpose. Stoicism isn't a tactic. It's a standard, a way of being, one that doesn't just attract, it transforms. One that sharpens your mind, reinforces your habits, and earns a level of respect that status alone can't buy. These 6 traits we've explored aren't just attractive, they're transformative. First for you, and then for everyone you influence. If something in this video resonated with you, don't just watch and scroll on. Take it in, practice it. Let it become a part of who you are, not just a passing idea. That's the difference between those who simply consume and those who truly lead. Here's a question for you. Which of these 6 Stoic traits do you already live by? And which one will you commit to developing today? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's grow together, moving from noise to clarity, from potential to presence. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.